wanna know? Oh, no, oh, 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 oh. Step into the ring, it's the champion's corner time. Oh, oh, WWE, and then we break it down. We shine from the top rope to the mat, all the action on the heat. Champions Corner podcast where the real fans meet. Champions Corner podcast where the real fans meet.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Champions Corners. This is where the real fans meet. We're in the building today. I got my guy, Ron Crumpton. I got my guy, Lonnie Nesbitt. Of course, you know I'm the number one player in the building today. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to cover. We're going to talk about SmackDown. We've seen some interesting things on SmackDown that we're going to unpack today. We saw Cody Rhodes. Kevin Owens had a little scruffle at the end with Randy Orton smack dab in the middle. And we're going to talk about this groundbreaking documentary series by none other than Vincent K. McMahon. A lot of people have a lot of opinions about Vince. We're going to uncover everything. I'm going to try not to be biased when it comes to certain people in this documentary, but we're going to give you the real take, the first take, right here in the Champions Corner. Fellas, let's get it. Let's go. Let's talk about SmackDown. Let's talk about, were seeds planted between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes? Were any seeds planted on that? And guys, what did you think about the opening? Did you think that Cody Rhodes owed Randy Orton an explanation about why he's partnering with Roman Reigns at Bad Blood? I'm going to go to you, Ron.
I don't know if he really owed an explanation. I mean, he a grown man. He can make his own decisions. His decisions shouldn't have to impact Randy Orton or Kevin Owens. And be honest, Randy Orton, like he's saying he want an explanation, but in the end, it look like he really don't care, really. Because he accepted it real quick from what Cody said to him. So I don't even think Randy cares that much, but he just want to make sure he filled in on what's going on with the situation. Because, you know, he was on Raw and whatnot during the match with Gunther and whatnot. So now he's kind of his first day, a few weeks back. So he's trying to, you know, see what's going on and navigate and see what a Viper need to strike at. And But really, there should be more trust for Cody Rhodes. If this is your friend, and obviously he makes good decisions, because when everybody was, you know, thinking about, should we trust Jade when he got the Raw? You know, Cody was on Raw before he got the title, and everybody talking about, should we trust Jade? Cody the one brought Jade to Raw, and look how that turned out. Everybody loved Jade. Everything cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Jade now the Intercontinental Champion, so everything's good. So that should build trust right there. And y'all say y'all friends, so you trust your friend to make good decisions. It ain't like he teaming up with Roman. It's just one match, man. Come on,
right?
And Roman ain't the one attacking you. Right? Yeah, you've been fighting Roman since 2020, but Roman ain't the one attacking you week after week right now. It's Solo, Jacob, and the Tongans.
Right.
And that's who they going against. I mean, look at what's going on in front of your eyes. I mean, like he said, teaming up Roman. Oh, on you. If it comes towards you, you know what to do. You're a prize fighter. You know what to do. You fight your way out. Either way, it don't matter who you fighting.
Right.
But it's the story. I get it. But and Randy, he gonna do the same thing. But only thing I'm hoping it don't lead to is the Survivor Series with these four. As in these four, I'm thinking about Roman, Cody, Orton, and Kevin Owens. That is not what I'm looking for, bro. Nah, because Cody already teamed up with him. We don't need to convince those other two, and other two, I'm talking Randy and KO, to team up with Roman also. That's not what I'm looking for Survivors. I want to see Bloodline versus Bloodline, and that's what I'm hoping it continues to lead to, because that story is way more intriguing to me. But the way it's looking right now, it might be the other one with Cody, Orton, KO, and Roman. That's what it seems like it's leading to right now, where the story's going, but I'm not looking forward to it.
How about you, Brian?
Opening promo, I think it was good. I think you alluded to it, Sean, when in our message group about where Seeds planted, because we see how it's kind of going with Cody and KO, but now you're probably getting on the road with Orton saying, as long as you don't make it a problem. Like, I don't really know what he means by that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Is he saying, like, as long as you don't continue to team up with Roman, or you don't get in the way of what we're trying to do and get rid of the bloodline because we all trying to get rid of them, or so, that's a subliminal to me. So I don't know where he's going with that part, but I do agree that seeds are being planted, because I was wondering how that's going to tie it in. Because when Randy Orton flip heel, man, it's like lights out. So
Boys.
yeah, man, I think though, RC, you said something I didn't even think about. I'm so caught up on this bloodline versus bloodline potential at War Games. This is what the WWE universe is fan booking it, right? They fan booking it as that. So, and now you're talking about adding Cody, Orton, KO, and Roman against the bloodline. That could happen, but I also, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't think they're going to stretch out Cody and KO that long. That's another 6 to 8 weeks, right? From the day. So almost 2 months ish. So I don't know if they're going to not have Cody and KO go at it. You know what I'm saying? At that point, so I think, now Orton and Cody, yeah, but I don't know about that. So I think they might still do bloodline to bloodline, because I still believe that Jimmy has to come back, and at some point as well. But that is a good thing to keep in the back pocket, though. So overall, I think the segment was good. I need more from it though right now in terms of what Orton means by that, because he didn't get to finish it before the bloodline came out.
Right. And that's gonna lead me to this point. So when the bloodline came out, what did we think? Because last week on SmackDown, after the epic cinematic showdown between Roman and Cody, Kevin Owens was coming out to speak his piece on that. Seems like, and looks like he came out to try to speak again, but he keep getting interrupted by the bloodline. What do you guys think Kevin Owens is really trying to say?
He don't
Well,
like
to me, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say he don't like it. He said it, but I mean, look how he responded on SmackDown to Cody. They said, "Let's have a tag match, right? Let's have a tag match." And he said, and Cody was like, "It don't have to be a tag match." He was like, "No, okay, no. You have your match at Bad Blood, so you focus on that. I'm talking about me and Orton against Jacob and Solo." So right now he's saying, "I don't want anything to do with you right now in the tag match, because you done made your decision. Now let us make ours." He's speaking for Randy Orton right now, right? To the point, he also said, "You know how the bloodline rolls," but he also said, "Cody, don't come out there. Just let us have our match." But you know how I was going to go. And then Randy on the other end saying, "Hey, you know how the bloodline rolls. We're going to need you out there, man." You see what I'm saying? Like, all these, he don't like it. So you see how he's treating Cody now. So I'm looking for that chair shot to come, the proverbial stab in the back. I'm looking for that to come at any moment.
Yeah, and a lot of people think it's going to come to Cody with that, from what you're saying, but it might come to Orton first, because Orton's trying to keep the peace, and because Orton going to be on Cody's side either way because of their history and being his mentor and whatnot coming up and from the legacy, and so that might come to. He might swing for Cody, but it might hit Orton first, and they're gonna have a match, and then him and Cody might fight a little bit down the line after that. So that's how I think it's gonna go. But yeah, KO obviously he ain't feeling it, bro. I mean, he ain't gotta talk to show that, because like I said, he saying things. Oh, I don't want you on my team right now. You shouldn't have been out here. Pushing, shoving. Orton had to get real aggressive with KO before he calmed down and gave Cody and whatnot. And I don't know how genuine that was with that hug, because he's just doing it because he don't want to go back and forth with Randy Orton right now. But it's gonna come down to it. KO going up, he gonna hit somebody, and while that happens, Orton trying to protect Cody. So I don't know how it's gonna work, but something gonna happen. What Cody's gonna do will make Orton turn also. Like I said, they don't have to be full heel, but they have a disagreement with Cody, because nowadays I think with Triple H's booking and whoever else is in creative, it doesn't have to be black and white heel babyface. We're going by what's going on right now, and it's a lot of gray area, and that I know we're talking about. I'm gonna speak on it earlier right quick, but in the doc with Attitude Era, that's where that was kind of born, the gray area.
That's what pushed up the attitude era.
Yeah, and that's where it's been like that kind of ever since. Sometimes a guy might do bad things, but he's still that preferably a good guy. Like, I mean, it's like I said, Stone Cold, all of them had attitude. They wasn't just good old guys. Like Cody is, but you don't have to be that good old guy with every baby face.
Right.
So KO and Orton, especially Orton right now, because Orton just living life, enjoying the fans, singing their song and this and that. But he can have that switch. But like I said, it don't have to be a totally good guy, and he doesn't have to be a totally full heel either. So it's just going with the story. And so, like I said, somehow I think he gonna get both of them on his bad side for Cody that is. So I'm waiting to see where it goes with that.
Can I add something to that?
Go ahead.
So we all talking about KO's turning heel from the point of Cody teaming with Roman. But let me remind you that this is not going to be just from that point. This is going to go back from Bash in Berlin. You remember Cody beat KO, and KO was kind of like convicted. He was like confused, like, should I really be aggressive because he don't have his leg the best and all that type of stuff. But remember the night before too, Cody said some words. Cody said, "I came back at WrestleMania 38, and you were main event against Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I was the one who went forward, and you kind of stayed in the same place. I left you in the tail lights." I'm paraphrasing, but he said essentially that's what he's saying. He said, "You're upset because one, I'm ahead, and right now you're in the same place." And then KO said he has had a title in 8 years, single title, something like that. So this is not going to be because Cody's teaming with the Bloodline. That just added more fuel to the fight. Those words in life and in wrestling, those words can hurt if they remind you of how you really feeling. So this is going to be something built just from that point too. It ain't gonna, don't be twisted. For anybody watching, it ain't gonna be nothing just because he teamed with Roman. That just made it worse.
Yeah. And playing off that, you just said in life, and go off Roman Reigns said that in that cinematic promo, and Kevin Owens could hear that and say, "You in my way too. You the world champion. That's what I want to be. So you in everybody's way. You're the target."
Oh, come on. Come on.
That's good.
It's right there.
That's good. Yeah, because you guys were picking up on where I was gonna go. Do you guys remember back in the Bash of Berlin? Before that, we all kind of agreed that this match is kind of out of the blue between Cody and Kevin Owens. Now, as the WWE continues to do, they've brought our attention to this feud without even it being a legitimate feud. Like it's not out there to say that they're feuding, right?
Yeah.
We're starting to see the little ripples effects. Man, they're bringing our attention to this feud and how now I'm kind of buying in to this potential rematch between Cody and Kevin because it's become that interesting. So, do you guys think that this will happen before Survivor Series, during Bad Blood? When do you guys see this boiling over for Kevin Owens to make his final attack? Well, his presumptive attack on Cody Rhodes.
Let me say it like this, and Crump, I toss to you, bro. I think Crump might have said this actually. He said, I'm just kind of I'm letting it cook, so give me a moment here. So he said KO. He says the Bloodline beats Roman and Cody at Bad Blood, and then that sets up potentially Roman and Cody in Saudi in the earlier part of that.
Right. I forgot about that.
So I think, and the reason I say that is because I think that'll be the perfect time potentially for KO to do it. Not that he would cause Cody the match, but let's just say everybody already out there, the Bloodline that came out there, interfered in the match that had nothing to do with them, right? Then that brings KO and potentially Orton out, and I think KO will do it there. That sets up Cody KO for Survivor Series because we know you're going to have two War Games matches, but you still need a big singles match there. You know what I'm saying? But I also think that'll be a continuation of their matches. I don't think it'll be it there. I think they have to get at least two more in. You know, I don't think, because at that point, we thinking Cody and Orton going to be at Mania. We kind of all agreed to that in a sense, or if not The Rock, however that works. But Cody going to have to need somebody to kind of keep him busy until then. So that's my thought. That's my thought. So I say Saudi.
Yeah, I did say him and Roman would be at Saudi because that's Saudi. They want a big match, and like I said, the past couple of years, the Saudi has been way better and way more intriguing and follow storyline more closely. than it did beforehand. So it could be Roman and Cody there. Trying to think what else, because I'm trying to think what else it could be with them two. But I'm trying to think what KO could boil over at. I feel like it could be at Bad Blood or after, because I think they might save it for after.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. It's hard to put it together. It's like, and it's good because I can't see where it's going. It's hard to predict right now. And that's the best thing about how the stories are being told. Because it could go either way. It could have several scenarios, and all of them can be good.
Yeah.
So, because if you save Roman and Cody for later, you could do Cody and KO in Saudi.
Mm-hmm.
Because either way, none of us see Kevin Owens beating Cody Rhodes.
Right.
So why not just have them fight again in Saudi and let that be over with right there?
Right. Because a few episodes we were like, man, this could be a detriment to SmackDown because there's no one for Cody to face. And here we are seeing Cody does have people to face.
I want to add something that could also push him over the line. What they can potentially do in Saudi is have Randy and KO against the Tongas for the tag team titles. Because I think they're going to win that ladder match next week. I think. And maybe have them there, and maybe that be another thing that pushed them over the edge. Like, I can't beat the bloodline. I'm pissed off at Cody. I don't feel like myself. I just need to go back to being the real prize fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you've been losing a lot. Because they keep bringing up Kevin Owens all his shortcomings constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You had a singles world championship, probably a singles championship in all these amount of years. You ain't beat none of the bloodline in 4 years. I mean, come on. How much show his shortcomings? I mean, how many times you gonna say it?
Right.
And he watches the show because Kevin Owens is one of the most. He goes beyond kayfabe when on TV show on the show. He's one of the most real wrestlers out there, and he gonna make mention or make a motion to some that we all know. Like if you know, you know, and he gonna draw attention to it. So I'm sure he watches the show, so he got to continue to hear this from the commentary and words from Cody Rhodes. You ain't had a bill, in this amount of time. I went ahead of you, so that fuse is gonna blow. The bomb gonna blow. The fuse getting short with him sooner or later.
And I mean, Cody Rhodes. Go ahead, Lonnie.
Now, I was just gonna say, man, all that thing just kind of building up. That's all. It's gonna flow. Like we say it now. To your point. If you notice the commentary lately, when the announcers are kind of hitting on something, like they said, I think on Raw, they kept talking about Jey Uso ain't won a single title yet, or Braun's been a bully or something like however they've been saying it. They keep hitting on things like that. So it's going somewhere, man. If you pay attention to the booking, but go ahead, Sean.
Right. Now, people think, and this is coming from multiple sources, and it continues to happen, that Cody Rhodes is actually the heel in certain situations. Just based off of what he's saying and his actions. I was watching Busted Open, when they was breaking down the cinematic face-off between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. They said Cody Rhodes' body language, the way he leaned in, the way he cut Roman off at the end, was more so, to your point, Ron, operating in that gray area, that he's posing himself, although he's the good guy and he's the hero, there's still some heel-like tendencies there. So what if, for dream booking here, what if Cody Rhodes pulls a fast one on all of us and he just beats Kevin Owens to the punch?
That's like Rock and McMahon's all over again at Deadly Game Survivor Series. You know what I'm saying? 98, bro. That's nobody expected that heel turn. You know what I'm saying? That's all good, but it would be interesting because you turn heel on the dime. In my personal opinion, you got to think about a little bit more these days than you did back then. Cody is big with the kids, just like Cena was. And that probably played a big part to why Cena didn't turn heel, because if he turned heel, there's no more Make-A-Wish. There's no more, so Cody is over. He's so over with the children, you know what I'm saying, which most top baby faces are, right? So that's a whole other place right there, right? So I don't know. But if he did, I'd be like, wow. Like, do they change the music? I mean, all these different things, because the fans participate in the music. Do they change the music? Do they change the way he walks out? Does he get on the ropes anymore? Does he say, what do you want to talk about? All these different things I think about if I'm in that seat. Like, You gotta pivot all that. You gotta change it a whole 180 or 360, whatever you want to say. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I don't think he turns heel. Maybe down the road, but not. I don't think in this season.
Yeah, I can't see him turning heel right now. He's too high up there. Like you said, the kids and everybody sing the song. If he did change the song, it'll just be slowed down some kind of way, like kind of like they did with Stardust. No, when he had the mask on. What was that?
With the mirror character, we looking in the mirror, or the
Yeah. Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah, he'll do probably something like this. Find a way to slow it down. But like I said, I just can't see him turning heel right now. If he did, it'll be just a shot type of thing to do. But just capitalize on him being that top face, top good, and top merch seller from there, and you can hold on to that. You can save that for a little later because I'm gonna reference the Doc again a little bit because with Hulk Hogan, people started to. They say on it. They say started to get sick of him. People not sick of Cody, not at all. So wait, kind of for that when it starts to happen, or when it kind of get deeper into that, because right now everybody still sings the song. Everybody chant for him, Cody, Cody, Cody. Even with Randy Orton out there, they still putting saying Cody, Cody. So let that die down a little bit, and then pull the trigger. Right now, capitalize on everything you can get out of him as a top babyface.
Right.
And just to add to that, y'all know I love talking historian stuff. To Ron's point, they started around WrestleMania 6 or so to start. Vince was like, this is kind of reference to Doc. Vince was like, yeah, I feel like Hulkamania's kind of fading away. That's remember, he was champion for like on and off for like 7 years at that point. Doing the same thing. No reinvention. Because it worked. So that's another factor to play. Key point I think they might look at too in regards how long they've been on top. Do we see a decline in merch sales? Do we see a decline in activities or whatever the case may be? So yeah, I think it's a lot goes into a heel turn because you got to plan for that down the road.
Right. Cool. I only bring that up because Undertaker's on record saying it. The group of Busted Open. A lot of people on the record are saying that Cody Rhodes is more so a heel than he is a face. But we want to know what you guys think. As always, drop it down in the comment section. Let us know. What is your take on Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes? What is your take on them in the future? But speaking of a heel turn, we saw recently that Naomi, Bailey, they had a match. Bailey won. Does this signify a possible heel turn for more respect in the women's scene in the forms of Naomi turning heel? What do you guys think?
No, Naomi, she could, but the people like her, the people are into her too. Some people hate on her because they don't even think she deserved to be in that spot, but that could be other reasons why they say that. But some people think she's not championship material as her in-ring work is. They don't like her in-ring work. They said she was better in 10, and they feel like they didn't transfer back over to WWE with her in-ring work. But Bailey won that fair and square. I mean, it is what it is. You lost. I mean, you could get a heel turn out of that, but I just don't see the signs right now. I don't see the signs for Naomi to go and do that. She's doing the glow thing. She's doing different outfits for that, and that's her big thing. That's her big draw. That's her big draw. Oh yeah, the Uno gear.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and challenge that because you got a great point. You're not wrong, Crunk. I just feel when she was walking backstage, kind of with her head down, like, man, I let another one go. When you get into those places, you got to ask yourself, what do I need to change? You may ask yourself, am I too nice? Am I too friendly with Bailey? Am I too? You got to ask these questions because you keep coming up short on these big opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself, I believe, at times, like, what is it that I need to change? You know what I'm saying? I came back for a reason. I came back here wanting to be better. And I feel stuck right now. Every chance I've gotten, I have not capitalized on that. I lost in the tournament, the Queen of the Ring. I lost that Money in the Bank. I lost no more contendership. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these different things keep coming up, man. It's like, what do I need to change? So, yeah, she can keep the glow, but she can make it, she can turn that thing and still make it glow, just make it heelish. What does that look like? I don't know, because I've never seen a glow heel. Oh, but she can still flip that thing.
Red lights.
Yeah, you can flip that thing and get gangster with it, cuz. You know what I'm saying? You can get out there and flip it like that, So, you know what I'm saying? She don't have to lose half athleticism. She don't have to lose none of that, but she can get a new attitude.
Yeah, and if she does, in her mindset, it could be she might be looking at she part of the big three. She could really be looking at Jade and Bianca holding tag team titles, and she doesn't have a title, and so that might be affecting her too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it can go either way, but she does need an intrigue to her character right now, more of an intrigue. Like everybody loves the glow, and when she comes out in the music or whatnot, but she needs more from here because I felt like she should have won this match because that's what she needed. This Bailey could probably get a shot anytime more than her, so I felt like she should have won. But it is what it is. Bailey got this dub, and she going versus Nia Jax.
Well, she needed her rematch anyway, so he ain't got it. So
yeah, that's true. You muted, Sean.
you muted.
I think she needs a boost. Pushing her towards heel might give her, that respect inside the women's division. I mean, maybe that's what she's longing for, but we'll see what's to come. I want to move on to an interesting moment this past week on SmackDown. The Queen, Nia Jax, looking Tiffany in her eyes, saying in basically a roundabout way, if I don't win, we got problems. What do you guys think is going to happen during that match? Is this the time, ladies and gentlemen, where Tiffany cashes in?
Too soon, but let's ignore the fact, man. She put her hand on this girl's throat.
I didn't want to say it.
I mean, people who watch SmackDown know she put her hand on her throat. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Tiffany and so in my mind, Tiffany planting seeds. Like, she forgot that whoever has this briefcase kind of has the power. You think you had the power as champion, but you never know when I cash in on you because I can do it at any time because I've earned it. So I think Tiffany just kind of letting the play in her hand, and she's gonna pick the right moment. And then when it happens, Tiffany's gonna be face.
I guess so. Yeah, because right now this ain't the Tiffany we were used to, at least from me watching NXT and her first few months on the main roster. She had all the confidence in the world. She called herself the center of the universe, and now you back seating to the WWE champion, of course, and the Queen. It was a good spot, but you let her put her hands on you like that. Before you was above everybody, and now you still got money in the bank, so you gotta get out jail free card, whatever you want to call it. But you can't. They gotta build this up to where she snaps on her. If she going face, she just get to the point where she just really can't take it no more, and he either hits her with a briefcase right there and cashes in, or she just gonna continue to be a follower.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a build up moment before she can become a face. So it's gonna take a little bit more time. Like I said, it might be 40 years out though. She might cash that in.
Right. I agree. I think it's too soon. I wouldn't be opposed either way, honestly. I think it would be good conversation, good talk, maybe good for television. But I think that they're still building more layers to this story between Queen Nia Jax and Tiffany there on SmackDown. I'm looking forward to it either way. Man, but what a gangster move by Nia to put her hands around her like that and Tiffany not do anything. That's kind of showing the hierarchy there in between their relationship.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the now tied series 3-3. Carmelo Hayes, he's him. That's what he says. He says he's him. And Andretti is 3-3. They're tied. Where do we go from here? LA Knight interfered, and they get it. Andretti and LA Knight have their exchange backstage. Where is this headed?
It's like a triple threat to me.
It has to be.
I feel like Carmelo should get his one-on-one just like Andrade got, but it seems like it's going to be a triple threat because maybe I missed something. Why did LA Knight even come out there? I probably missed something, but LA Knight didn't be out there, especially Andrade was upset about that because they had that little scuffle last week or a little weird moment with them. They couldn't shake hands or they want to do a fist bump. I don't know what that was, but they lingered it on to this week, and now it's the same situation. And Andrade didn't even shake his hand and get out the ring, which he shouldn't have to. Like, why am I shaking your hand for? You cost me the match just now. You came out here for zero reason, for my opinion, and caused me to lose. Now it's 3-3. I'm assuming they're gonna put whoever wins this match is gonna get the next U.S. title shot. But So I'm hoping it's Carmelo because Carmelo should get his 1-on-1. Andrade already had his.
Right.
But all in all, Carmelo probably gonna lose that. It's gonna be a triple threat anyway. So what? I don't know. I don't even know that should happen. So we'll see.
Well, the reason LA Knight came out there, bro, is because Carmelo knocked the heck out of him in the back
Okay, I missed that.
as he was.
Oh, he gonna wait on that, man. He gonna wait on that.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. That man, anybody get knocked down like that? He knocked this man over the little thing where you put the cables in. Then left his title. Then kept on his title. He ran out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't gonna sit there. You ain't gonna sit there and wait for that.
Either way, you're gonna cause Andrade the match. So you gonna come out there and hit Carmelo during the match. Disqualification. Distract Andrade. He got rolled up a pin. So either way, which is what happened. So either way, causing Andrade the match. So now you and Andrade got to fight again, not for the title, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But it continues. It's personal now, though. It's personal now, right? Like LA Knight, man. He's a trash talker. You know what I'm saying? You hit him, he coming out there, man. Remember we talked about it before. He's like a mixture, personality-wise. I'm not gonna say full on. It's like a mixture of Austin and The Rock. You see it in his promos. You see it, he kind of carried himself in a sense, that confidence. So if you hit one of them back in the day, no matter who's in that ring, one of them was coming out there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's what's gonna happen now. Now, granted, the whole fist pump, shaking hands thing, LA Knight did that same thing with Cena last year, I think. So it's like, maybe that's his shtick. I don't know, but I don't know, because Andrade was saying, I don't respect you now because you didn't shake my hand and you just made me after a good match like that and things of that nature. But, to your point, though, all in all, I think it's going to be a triple threat match, although I also thought Naomi, Bailey, and Nia is going to have a triple threat match, too. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, Carmelo needs a shot. I don't care what you're talking about.
That's what you really wanted to say.
Yeah,
that's what you really
Carmelo,
wanted to
he deserves a shot. I mean,
so when would this happen? I mean, obviously it's not going to happen in Bad Blood.
It's going to be a SmackDown.
Yeah.
SmackDown, I think the 1-on-1 match. So I think Andrade and Carmelo finishes the rivalry on SmackDown. Best of 7, that is. Maybe Carmelo gets a shot on the following SmackDown a week later. And I think the triple threat happens in Saudi.
Got it. And speaking of Bad Blood, we got our girls, well, my girls, affectionately, my girls, Bianca and Jade, hosting Bad Blood right there in hot Atlanta. I talked to my boy today, Lonnie. I was like, man, why they got my girls hosting? He brought up a good point, ladies and gentlemen. They're in Atlanta. Gotta have these girls hosting in Atlanta. Fellas, what do you guys feel about that?
They ain't got no contenders for them tag team titles for real. That's why they hosting.
They didn't beat them all.
That, and they're going to have special guests, as they said. So it's probably going to be some artists from Atlanta show up, and they're going to be I know what the reason is. I'm going to go ahead and say they black, and it's going to be some hip-hop artists in Atlanta, and they're going to bring them on. I don't care. I'm saying it. I don't care. That's what it's going to be.
I'm thinking, why he just trying to take us. I'm sitting here waiting, like, why he taking so long to just say it?
Yeah.
I ain't never want to talk about it like that, but I mean, that's what it is. They got the special guests, and they gonna bring them on the show. Just like they did the thing with Cardi B for the SummerSlam in Jersey. Calling Bel Air, and that's how that went. They doing the same thing with the Atlanta thing.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's unheard of. I know people get a little salty about those types of topics, but the fact of the matter is, when they went to India, they used Jinder Mahal. I mean, what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? Like, they got a hip-hop spin on it, and let's think of most of the hip-hop came from African-American culture. So when you think about it, especially in Atlanta, in the dirty South, as we used to call it back in the day, I don't know if they still roll with that. But, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, saying, like, yeah, okay, we know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, hey, utilizing what you have to get more there. So everybody can have a good payday.
Yeah, and get somebody that's relatable with them. So, yeah.
Yeah. They're probably getting like all those I forgot that artist who's in those commercials with Cody. But
Metro Boomin.
Yeah, so I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like that. So yeah.
It's not out of pocket. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. You got two of the baddest probably women tag team champions of all time.
That's a legit statement. That's a legit statement too.
Probably of all time. We got them hosting a pay-per-view that hasn't been around for a while since Triple H beat Kevin Nash. I mean, But I mean, it's bound to happen, right? Bound to happen. Bound to happen. I think it's a good call. But whatever they do, it's gonna be money anyway. People are going to watch, so it don't matter what they do. Bianca and Jade, it don't matter what they do. And I think it's probably beneficial to further, I guess, catapult Jade's stardom in the business as well.
Oh yeah.
I want to add to that. One of the good things about what I think is smart booking, this is me who's never been in a booking chair for a company, but because you have so much of a roster, you're giving people time off too for their bodies to hit. Not to say they're not working, but it's also helps them get some time off from doing the physical thing to kind of help them be better down the road, I think. And that's one of the things, that's how you can still utilize talent, because you don't have to put 10 matches on every show. You can have people be more diverse and utilize them elsewhere as well. But let's be honest, we know when WWE put hosts there, the hosts don't do a lot. I mean, they don't do a lot. Me as host of SummerSlam, I don't think we saw him twice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's just a place, I think, to also to be like, okay, let's just kind of, get them involved, because we know, let's just be honest, we know they can put butts in seats. You know what I'm saying? So we already got the hometown boy.
Yeah.
We already got the Roman Reigns coming back to the ring for the first time. We also got the what they call perfect, seen in the rotten. Never before, never again. We gotta do a show about how Rock and Roman's is parallel, because I have so much to say about that. But when it was seen in the rock, never before, never again. Look at this right here. Wow. Look what we have here, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? So you got that. To me, the greatest rivalry of the year with Punk and Drew, Hell in the Cell. I mean, you gotta have that's a cherry on top. That's all it is, honestly, because those two alone. Come on now.
Come on.
Those two alone. So I mean, man, you gotta get it out.
It's gonna be a good card.
It's gonna be a good card. It's gonna be a good card, man.
This Saturday.
So this Saturday, it's coming up real quick, man. Coming up real quick. Just for conversation pieces, real quick. Match of the night. What you guys think is gonna be the match of the night?
Bad blood?
I think Drew.
Yeah, I would think so. They fully utilize the Hell in a Cell, yeah. But it depends on what all happens in that tag match, man. That's a big match.
Yeah.
So I really want to see what's gonna happen with that. But then we got, well, it's not official still, but Gunther and Sammy, I don't know, but that tag match for me, I think that's gonna pull something out. That's gonna make a moment.
I honestly think Gunther and Sammy gonna get pushed back to Saudi too, because I don't think they have enough on that card, man. That just for 5 matches, they have enough on that card. Remember, they still got Rhea and Liv with Dom in the shark cage. They still got Damian and Finn. That's personal. And now you got Bailey versus Nia Jax, which is a continuous story, years in the making. I think that's enough on the card from a wrestling perspective. I think anything else in there would be too much. I like that Triple H doesn't overbook anything. He doesn't give you too much at once. You know what I'm saying? He don't give you like 10 different things. You know what I'm saying?
That's probably why he's saying no right now. Because also you think, didn't Sammy get like a hometown crowd type of situation over there?
Yeah.
In the Saudi, so that could be building up to that. And so Sammy had that crowd behind him fully, especially over there, because like this type of hometown crowd versus Gunther, that could be what that's building up to. You're right about that, but that could be what it is. Probably why he's saying no right now. Everybody think he's gonna say yes on Monday, which he might, but another option, saving.
And I agree.
Get that crowd behind Sammy.
I agree, and that's a good take. I've been of the premise to say that these matches that's on Bad Blood, they legitimately have bad blood behind these matches. Like bad blood. CM Punk and Drew. That's bad blood. You know what I'm saying? Rhea, Liv, bad blood. So I feel like, although I agree with two parts of our fellow colleagues, I agree with Jacoby that this cage, I hope the Hell in a Cell is not red again. Please don't make that Hell in a Cell red again. And I also agree with BJ that Sami Zayn is cupping the coffee the big time. It's over. I agree with my guy. It is over. This is Sami Zayn not fit for the big time. I agree.
There you go.
But I would pay to see that in Saudi Arabia. I would pay to see that. Final thoughts on SmackDown before we move on.
Looking forward to the next one. I think it was a decent show. And looking forward to the go home show on Friday.
Oh yeah, go home show. Roman should be there this Friday. He didn't show up on this last past episode. So Roman should be there, just to get that final push to Bad Blood. And that's almost all you need right there.
Mm-hmm. And man, Solo is really, really starting to own his tribal chief character. I don't know if you peeped his language on this past Friday. He's really starting to lock into that character, man.
Yeah, I think he's been doing a good job but like I said, a lot of people hate on him saying he ain't on Roman level. Yeah, he's not, but we ain't supposed to think he is.
He ain't gonna be wrong.
Yeah, but he go at that conference and he got the team behind him. So I mean, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So fellas, let's get into it. Let's talk about this documentary that broke probably the internet last week. Netflix, as we know, Netflix and WWE TKO, they recently merged to have a partnership. This coming January, we're going to see the first ever Raw streamed live on Netflix. So for all my digital audience, people that out there, you're sharing subscriptions and all that, put in the comment. Let me have your password, by the way. Let me have your password.
I don't let Netflix say that. They're going to put the price up for everybody.
I know. I need to share, but they're moving Raw. The WWE is moving to Netflix. And recently, Netflix just put out a documentary that was heard around the world of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, entitled Mr. McMahon. Now, we all know McMahon. We all know the stories. We know the rumors. We know the scandals. But let's talk about the genetic jackhammer, as he would put himself, right? Let's talk about the evil McMahon. Let's talk about Mr. You're Fired himself, right? Probably one of the greatest theme songs in the industry. Let's talk about Mr. McMahon documentary. We're going to give our thoughts about it, and then we'll break it down. Lonnie, let's start with you.
One of the things that I like about documentaries in general is that you kind of get to know a little bit about the history that you didn't know. So when he talked about how he was like 12 years old and he was in an abusive family, unfortunately, it kind of, things like that unfortunately happen to people, and then it kind of leads them to live a life, in a certain way, in terms of maybe whether they don't want to feel that way again, whatever it may be, it kind of gives an imprint of why they might be the way they are, type of thing, right? But overall, I thought it was a good informational documentary. I do think it was one-sided. I will say that. I think it was one-sided because I think it was kind of just trying to see what he did bad kind of thing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think it was very informative because he was in there too. He spoke on things. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was very good. And of course, us being wrestling fans, we look for things like that to see the other side of people. I think it was a well-done documentary in that way, as far as informative goes, talking about some of the things we did know, some of the trials and things he went through, and some of the scandals and things like that was put out there, about him and things of that nature. I'm not going to say right, wrong, and different. I don't know. But so those types of things, I think it was very enjoyable. We enjoyed it. Me and my wife watched it. But yeah, I thought it was real well done in that regard, production-wise.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, bro. Well, my personal opinion, my personal feelings, let me say that, I'm done with Vince, really. So at first, when it first got announced and whatnot, I was like, do I really want to watch this, bro? I'm done with this dude, for real. But in doing this show and in loving wrestling, period, you can't exclude Vince McMahon. There's no way. No way at all. I'm going to give it to him. He's a genius at being a businessman. And that's his love over his family or anybody else. He loves his business. He loves to be there and be in that seat. And so I give him props for, pushing this business and making it is what it is today as far as WWE and pretty much the whole wrestling business. Because this documentary showcases all we know as wrestling fans. For what we know what wrestling is from back in the day to today, this documentary talked about it all, and Vince is part of it all. It showed it all. This is several documentaries in one, if you think about it. Hulk Hogan, he's showing his story, how his build up. That's one documentary. The Monday Night Wars, that's right in there. The Attitude Era documentary, or DVDs, whatever it is, that's in there. And everything coming up today, all this, the biggest superstars, who Stone Cold is, who The Rock is, who's John Cena. Undertaker. All these people talking on this documentary. It's several documentaries in one. His story encapsulates what we know as what wrestling is. And he was a genius. He was a lot of bad things too, and that's like I said. That's why I'm kind of done with him for. But my start being done with him was just I didn't like how he was taking the business, or how he put things out there in the past probably 10 to 15 years. I think he lost his touch. You know, he's still creative. He has still great moments, but I feel like he lost his touch in a lot of ways. And he should have gave it up either to Shane, which is Shane wanted it, but at a great opportunity, Triple H is doing his job. And Stephanie. So he should have been given the reins, but he, like I said, he's in love with business and he didn't want to let it go. And so this shows everything about that and beyond. And it needs to be some must watch if you do know a lot of these things that went on, or if you don't. But it's still intriguing to watch, and you will learn something. So I feel like it's a must watch. It's like 2 or 3 in the top 10 on Netflix. It's worth a check out. And it talks about a lot of things. Like I said, I didn't know a lot of things I did know, and a lot of people, things informing non-wrestling fans about what the wrestling business is and how it came about throughout the years.
Fellas, hearing you guys talk about it just gave me chills. It gave me goosebumps. You know, because we're fans. We're fans of this. Like, and I've always been on record to say, you know, I don't know what a person does outside of what we see, but the man's from an entrepreneur, because I'm a diehard entrepreneur. From the entrepreneur standpoint, there was so many gems that we can take away from Vince McMahon's just the way he crafted his business. I did not know about his childhood, which makes me now realize why things are the way there is. I mean, gosh, can you imagine this man being abused for 12, not knowing your own dad for 12 years? And then when you finally meet your dad, it's like, all right, yeah, you my kid. All right, whatever. And to not, me and my dad, we grew up playing catch. Vince grew up talking business. And for him to take this thing to the next level, something his dad never dreamt of, I got so many gems from that. And you have to be obsessed with something in life if you want to be the greatest. You have to be obsessed. Every great person has an obsession. The Rock has an obsession. Austin has an obsession. Every great person has an obsession. So to see Vince's obsession for the business, to go past, you know, racial barriers, to go past anything that we've always kind of speculated about, now we got a picture to see why it is the way it is. Like you said, Ron, this man wanted to be in that business. It wasn't a day where he was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He wanted to be in that business. And when you create standards like that, you expect everybody around you to come match that same standard or above. And so seeing that documentary, man, really put things into perspective for me. It was like nostalgia to see these moments all over again. You know what I'm saying? But let's unpack it. Let's start with a few episodes. What were your favorite episodes? I'm gonna go to you, Ron.
I mean, it's hard not to say the ones where it talked about era we grew up in. You know what I'm saying? Either coming from the new generation into the Attitude Era and stuff like that, how all that came about, no superstars. So I don't remember which ones it was. It was like probably like 2 or 3, episode 2 and 3, but probably mine. So explaining all that and like how certain matches came about and how certain superstars became who they are, and Vince's involvement in that. And another person I ain't nowhere near fond of at all, Hogan, saying, yo, a lot of his words came directly from Vince, if not all of them. Mm-hmm. So, and they put them together like we are one and the same. I'm the star, but I'm spitting out your words right there. So it's that genius of creating these stars and making a household name for a lot of these people.
Right.
And that's kind of my favorite part, because I mean that's what our fans, that's what we see. Mm-hmm. Back then we didn't know all this backstage stuff. It became more intriguing a little later on with the internet and whatnot. But we are there for the show, for these superstars who break their back week after week and entertain us. But with this documentary, it shows behind the scenes, like, dang, yeah, they went through all this, and sometimes they didn't get to see their family. I mean, a lot of things we already know now, but it was worse back then. And I love to see how it's become better now in today's world, in today's wrestling world, with the wrestlers and them being able to have their own life with this big, career going on. They be able to be more with their family and do more outside the business. So to see where it was and where it's coming from and where it is now, I love to see that evolution. And like I said, those parts kind of break it down for me in this documentary.
For me, I don't remember if it was like the middle of 1 or episode 2 when he really started kind of running the business in general. As Tony Atlas alluded to in the documentary, I think they were working like 7 days a week. When they started making all that money. But I want to go back to something else too, as far as unpacking. Vince said he grew up poor. So when you get your hand on some money, man, like a lot of stores we know, you don't want to let those things go. You know what I'm saying? You want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think that's what kind of what he was doing, right? He remember how he came up, and maybe he was like, I don't want to feel that way again. Potentially, I don't know. He didn't say that. At least I don't recall him saying that. But to your point as well about trying to these evolutions are through the years. The one thing I will say that stood out to me, remember back in the day when he first took over from his dad, the unwritten rule was that you don't cross territory lines.
Mm-hmm.
You don't cross those lines. But Vince did. And he was like, this is, in his words, this is America. Essentially he's saying, get on board and move out the way.
Yeah.
So it is safe to say that if he didn't did that, we probably wouldn't have what we have today. For all these territories people can go into. You know what I'm saying? That's just a fact. As LA Knights, that's a fact of life. Because back then, I've heard back in the day that I think because Hulk Hogan was the guy who would get sent out to go to these territories. They were pumping these territories. And it got to the point where, you run into some of them old school wrestlers like Harley Race, and they ain't like that.
Right.
It almost got pretty serious because you did that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But he was trying to hit those markets. I even go back to even in the Young Rock episodes when he was working with the Rock's grandmother, trying to do business over there, just trying to pump. He's trying to get it all. He had a mission to get it worldwide. And to y'all point, this is where it is right now. You can say this. I'm going to put this one note in here. We may talk about it later. It's the only time I reference it because I know we're talking about the doc. Triple H is running creative right now in WWE. But he was trained under the tutelage of Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
There's rumors about Shane McMahon potentially going to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
He turned the business from his father. So whether people want to like it or not, if Triple H is in WWE, if Shane goes to go to AEW and has some play in trying to run it backstage, whatever that may be, they both were influenced by Vince McMahon. So even under what he got going on, his legacy in the business, hear me now, the business, I ain't talking about his personal life, the business is still going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And you can never deny that because it's still going on. And I even say, even though WWE won the Monday Night Wars, the reason there was a Monday Night War to begin with because it's stars that grew up under his tutelage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't think even WCW would have been where it was without Vince McMahon doing what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
WCW wouldn't even be there. It wouldn't even motivate Eric Bischoff to push the limit and do this and that if it wasn't for Vince.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, that's why I said you got to give Vince credit on all of this. You like him or not, which I expressed my opinion already, but you got to give this man credit on making the business and making, as wrestling fans, making our childhood, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's how impactful it is, bro. We grew up on this. We continue to watch this to this day. A lot of people dropped off, but they still remember those moments. And a lot of that is because of what Vince created. So, like him or not, give him that props. I would do that. In watching this, you got to do that.
Well said, guys. Now, so a few things stood out to me, and I'm just pulling on my notes here. A few things stood out to me. Number one, like you said, Lonnie, going into these territories. First of all, Vince had enough gall because he wasn't even looked at to be, and if you haven't watched the doc, go watch the doc, but it's about to be, obviously, these are spoilers, right? So you're going to watch the doc. He wasn't even looked at in the running for his dad to sell the company to, right? Mm-hmm. Wasn't even looked at, right? He somehow buys the company And so now his dad works for him. Can you imagine your dad now working for you? So everything that you want to say, your dad he doesn't want to do. So Vince starts going into these territories, man, and you hit on it, Lonnie. It's Americana. Americana is capitalism. It's about the money. It's capitalism. You know what I'm saying? There's no feelings in business. And I know that sounds tough, but you have to separate yourself when you're doing business. You have to separate your emotions because you're going to drive yourself crazy. You're going to drive yourself over the wall. You know, putting in these hours, putting in this dedication. Vince opened up territories. Had he not done that, would we have what we see today? That is crazy, right? One man, you know, going against all odds to do this, and which, you know, and I always say, I know what you said about WCW, but I will also add to that, Eric Bischoff is the byproduct, like you said, of Vince McMahon, because Eric Bischoff was in another promotion at that time, right? He was in the game in another promotion. So can you imagine him watching every move that Vince does, waiting for his opportunity? And he also interviewed to get on with WWE at one point, then, and got denied. Didn't get the gig.
Mm-hmm.
But Vince says he has no regrets. I want to live my life like that, to have no regrets, good or indifferent, to have no regrets.
I mean, I can tell it, yeah, but knowing what we know.
Yeah, he has no regrets. Now, I guess, hindsight is 2020. So they'll probably, and Vince, he said it in the documentary, I'm only going to give you, you're only going to, and even Shane said, he's showing you who he wants you to see, right? The real person, only Vince knows, and God, right?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite episodes was the family episode, right? Now we know why Shane did everything that he did. Looking for that moment, that adoration, that love from his father, right? That kind of like how Vince was looking for that from his dad, and Vince says, only time he heard his dad say, I'm proud of you or I love you, was like almost before he died, like a day or so before he died. His dad says, I'm proud of you, right? So here it is. Fast forward, Shane is looking for that same affection, that same thing from his dad, and he gets it by jumping off a Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying?
You got crazy that is to hear, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like I should be doing better than my dad. But you do the same thing your dad did and try to, it might have motivated Shane in a lot of ways and pushed him and gave us a lot of great moments from that. But as a man, as a father, you should want to do better than what your father did, what you think you thought your father should have done.
Sometimes you become the very thing you hate, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes you become that. So Vince subconsciously became the very thing that he despised. Or, well, I wouldn't say despised, because he never really said that he hated his dad. You know, he never really said that. But he became that to Shane, right? He became that to Shane. And another one of my favorite episodes, man, the Screwjob. I'm sorry, I didn't know the back ends of that. I don't remember. I love how they went in depth about that. For me, it was nostalgia. It opened up with him. Of course, the women's champion at that time didn't want to give up the belt, so he's like, "This is my belt. If you got to give it up." She didn't want to give it up, so what do? He calls it in the match. Hey, count to 3. He did the same thing to Bret, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was wonderful. Let me ask you guys a question. Who do you think is better at running the business, Shane or Stephanie?
Oh, Stephanie, of course.
Stephanie. I have to agree with Stephanie. Because Stephanie, I don't know. Let me put it this way. Stephanie did she was like an outside face of the company, doing all these community events, speaking at these different events and things of that nature, like partnerships. We knew Shane was commentator, referee. I remember specifically he was a referee for the 1991 Royal Rumble. He was one of the guys on the outside, I think that Stephanie were better. It would have been running in the business, and it could be because Shane took the hiatus, maybe. But she did a lot. She was a part of a lot of development, so she had that time. And then both of them had on-screen personalities. You know what I'm saying? Like they had enough time to do all those things with the corporations and all that type of stuff. The Man Hemsley era, all that type of stuff, the alliance and all that. I think Stephanie would have been better at running because remember she became the CEO. You know what I'm saying? So and Shane was around then too. You feel me? He was around. He was back in WWE around that time. It's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So, and they also said that Stephanie said out her mouth before she was like, she's more like her father than he is. Shane was
Right.
the nice guy, but Stephanie was
That's
more
what
like a
Vince said.
father in a good sense. Now maybe not fully, but you know, a lot of different approaches, which is why Triple H fits in so well because he would always make him laugh.
So yeah, to that point, yeah, that's what they were saying in there. Everybody liked Shane, but everybody probably would have ran over Shane. And with Stephanie, you know, you ain't gonna do that with her. Soon off the bat, she gonna let you know about that. And that's that's the quality she got from Vince. Shane probably got that from Linda, the way he is. Those characteristics. And like I said, and with Stephanie attitude and Triple H right there backing her up all the way, it makes for a good combination to run the business. Shane could still be doing something backstage with them. They could all work together in some sort, but things went how they went. And now Shane may be trying to be that with AEW. We don't know. We still don't know exactly what that is because he just had a picture. We all saw a picture of him and Tony Khan. Now they online with a picture of him and the Young Bucks.
Right.
So those two together, come on. We see where it's going. But I mean, we don't exactly know, but we see something in the horizon coming on.
Something brewing. Something brewing.
I want to say something too that I've been kind of waiting for the best place to say it, but you posed the question, Sean, so I think it's the best place to say it. When I think it was Paul Heyman was saying, I guess Shane was telling, he's like, I want to, essentially, he gave a suggestion or something, maybe. Shane gave a suggestion.
The story between Vince and Shane, right?
Yeah,
the story
yeah.
between Vince.
Yeah,
That was talk about it. That was cutthroat.
Yeah, and he was like, man, well, we ain't gonna do that. But if you really want to do it, I mean, he took his jacket off. He said, put the knife right here. I mean, what? I said, what? And he said, if you don't do it, I'm paraphrasing. You got to go watch it. He was like, that means you ain't man enough to make the decision. And you ain't man enough to take me out. I was like, so it goes back to, like I said, a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen, can come from your childhood. No matter how you try to throw a facade out, or no matter how you try to live like nothing bothers you, or whatever that case may be. Let me take you down the road for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a moment here. He went through that tough time with his dad. He's looking for a father. He needed a father at that young age. So what happens when things like that happen? You build a shell around yourself. You make sure you don't feel whether it's not feeling a certain way anymore. But I remind you, if you ever watch this, it's on Peacock, the story behind WrestleMania. Vince McMahon said, I think at WrestleMania 3, I believe it was WrestleMania 3, when I think Aretha Franklin was singing America the Beautiful. Vince said all he could think about was his dad, and he was crying. He was crying. So he yearned for his father's affirmations, if you will. You don't think that would affect how he would have a relationship with his son? One would think, you might say, well, if he didn't get it from his father, maybe he should give it to his son. It don't always work that way. When somebody's made up their mind that they're going to be this way because of their past traumas, you're not just going to pull them out of that just because they have their own son and have their own child, or because they want that same feeling. You got to remember that you don't know what that man felt like, especially if you've never been through that during that time. And then to go on and now say that, come on, man. He say he has no regrets. Okay, that's his words. But at the same time, well, what happens when no one's around, man? That's a tough place. He said on camera, I thought about my dad. He was crying, man. Go back and watch the story of WrestleMania. I believe it's on Peacock. It's on Peacock. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen, matter of fact, let's take it a bit further. I may be jumping the gun here, but after Shane took that bump, we alluded to it about 10 minutes ago, when Shane took that bump, again, on the story of WrestleMania, I believe it was, again, Shane came back and hugged his dad. Mm-hmm. And Shane said to himself, that's all, thank you. He said to his dad, that's all I ever wanted, for you to be proud of me. And why you think Vince started crying then? They didn't say this. Vince cried too, because that's all he wanted from his dad. But when he said it, he died the next day. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about those particular places in your life, I'm not saying right, wrong. I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm saying, you get an idea of why certain people are the way they are. Now, we got that piece. Now let's go over to what some of the wrestlers said. Just one person in particular, this one. Undertaker said he'll take a bullet for him. You don't just say that for somebody.
Mm-hmm. Shawn Michaels. He's like a father to me.
Yeah. And he had a father.
We not only just heard that from Shawn Michaels, we've heard that from Jericho. we've heard that from different guys. You know what I'm saying? That this guy is like a father to me. Now, justice is going to come out, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get us wrong. Whatever happened, happened, right? Whatever he did, he did. Justice is going to settle that. But we're simply talking about today just how we're respecting his business as a businessman, creative, the platform that he gave for people to come on and for us to all enjoy the product. We're talking about that. Now, whatever is going to happen in the court of law is going to happen in the court of law, right? We all agree. We're talking simply about what he's done for the business. And Lonnie hits on a good point. I want to let you continue.
Yeah. You know, you say you take a bullet from, you know, those are big, bold words to say, man. I remember recently when, I think before the most recent allegation came out, I think Undertaker and Vince went to Saudi Arabia for a, I don't know if it's a boxing fight or a UFC fight. I don't remember. But the Undertaker was there helping him because Vince was on crutches. I think he just had surgery or something. He was watching his back. You know what I'm saying? And for a guy who I believe is a stand-up guy like the Undertaker, I don't know Mark Calloway that well other than what he reveals. I'm not around him. I never met him. But for him to say that and then watch over him like that as he continues to, you know, post wrestling or whatever that case is, what I'm saying is, this is my point. Although we see what he said in the documentary about no regrets and all these different things, something had to happen. Relationships had to be built behind the stage in order for you to say some things like that. Bruce said his wife got cancer and Vince got her the best possible care. Period.
His wife still here, probably because of that care.
Yeah, like 24 years ago or something like that, he said. And here we go. Now, this is Mr. What was his name? Mr. Love. What was his name? Brother Love. Brother Love. So, but what I'm saying is, that's what I meant when I said I felt it was one-sided. Because the people I understand money, controversy creates cash. I get all that. I do. Of course, when you say Mr. McMahon at the time with all the stuff going on, I get that too. But it does say there's the other side to it too that they're not talking about, and people who know him, whoever he allows to do that, because clearly he don't let everybody know who he really is. We know that. We get that. But they say some things that you don't just say because somebody put some money in your pocket.
Now, well put, everybody. Is Vince the greatest heel the company's ever seen?
Hands down. Hands down. Look. I'm sorry, RC. I know you want to talk, bro. Just let me say this one thing. I'm sorry, bro.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, this man bragged about his money, screwed your favorite superstars, got the women. That's 3 things already. What heel, right? Did that. Yeah. Look. When he got beat down, he called the corporations out there to save his behind. You know what I'm saying? Look, then when he got beat down, he gave him the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wanted to. Why was Austin and him so popular? Because everybody at that time probably wanted to punch their lights out of their boss, according to, at that point in time, what they will always say. So when you got that, let's not forget now, that character came off real life heat.
Real life heat.
Let's not forget that. What heel, maybe I miss it, I'm pretty sure they out there, but what prominent heel you know is that kind of heel off real life heat? This man, the Montreal Screwjob, then got his lights punched out that same night.
By Bret.
I mean, from what I heard, I think it hit him in the temple. If anybody know about the temple, it's an easy spot to kind of knock some. It's fragile. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about all that, and right after that, sorry y'all, let me say one thing. I'm sorry. Listen, that was in the Monday Night War. Now, if I'm thinking about this, and y'all tell me if y'all agree. Everything that was going on in the Monday Night War at that time, WCW was still kind of on top, right? Wouldn't Bret Hart coming over there be the nail in the coffin?
Right.
But that kick-started the Attitude Era.
Yeah. I'm surprised they were talking about the moment the Attitude Era started when Shawn Michaels was out there dancing and put this little sock in his pants. Like that's the moment y'all picked that kicked it off. I
think the Montreal Screwjob started it all.
It had to be, yeah. I don't know what. I think it was Christian who said that or something. I don't know.
Let me.
Yeah, because on the next night after that screw job, maybe that's the next night he went out like that.
Was it the next night? I don't know.
No, I think the next. Vince came out and addressed the crowd the next night.
Yeah, I thought that was after that. Yeah, that was different.
I just remember the interview. I forgot who was talking. Was it JR? He was saying when he was sporting that Shiner, he was like Bret, school Bret. That was the key words, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all you need right there. You talking about yeah, he probably is the best villain. If you think about all that, you did that rundown of all the stuff he done. But I'm gonna say one thing he done. He kissed Trish right in front of his wife Linda while she's sitting in the chair, supposed to be sedated. So that right there just screams heel of the century or whatever.
Right. Now we know Linda was in on it. It was her idea. According to Trish. Huh?
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
It was, but that's still as far as on-screen villain. That still seals it for me.
I think he'd be number one heel. I got my personal list of top 5 heels. We'll talk about that later, but Vince is definitely number one. I mean, you talk about. I think the premise of the Attitude Era rolled on the back of Vince being that heel. And the corporation, and all that play from it. Now, another thing. I like how the documentary said the origins of WrestleMania. He putting everything into everything for WrestleMania. So that leads me to this question here. Let me see here. Vince said, best for business. That seemed to be a way of life for him. I mean, what do you guys think?
Clearly, man. Clearly. That's a mantra for him. I remember all these memories are coming up now that I'm thinking about. I remember one time, I think it was Shawn Michaels said, he saw Vince make some decisions, whether it was firing somebody or deny somebody something. He didn't want to do it, but it was best for business. For example, he said he saw him make the decision, but then kind of begrudgingly turned and it hurt him to do it. You know what I'm saying? On the other side of that, too, CM Punk, we're talking about CM Punk now, he said when he left the WWE, that was 10 years ago, he said, because Punk, we know Punk is a moneymaker. Let's just call it what it is, right? My point is about business is that he said Vince called him and said, "Are you ready to come back to work?" After he walked out on him, but he knew Punk was valuable. So again, best for business.
Mm-hmm.
He flew to Cody's house to get him back because it was best for business. When you talk about best for business, it's not just because making decisions to make people go, but also to bring business in.
Yeah,
man.
As far as best business, I mean, you look at what they said in the doc. Sable sued him, and she still got a job. With the company after that. And Stephanie brought it up on TV about that.
It turned into a
storyline. Yeah. So that's why I said he's married to the business.
Right.
Not to Linda, not to his kids, to that business.
Right.
He gonna make some kind of way to, if you could make me some money or we could expand this way, he gonna do it.
Right. So perhaps go ahead.
I just want to say one more thing that I think is very key is look at all the people we talk about Sable. Let's go further than that. Think about all the people who left and who he brought back. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Stone Cold Steve Austin, walking out on him. Wanted CM Punk to come back. All these people who don't walk back on, he said in the documentary, yeah, when you talk about Sean about putting emotion to the side, if they can make money, let's bring them back. Let's just eat whatever you got to eat or whatever, and let's bring them back. And also, not to mention the fact he knew that Rock and Hogan would put money in, put butts in seats and get high power pay-per-view buy rates. People are still talking about that match, and that was over 20 years ago.
So does this documentary show that the world has changed? I mean, things that they did in the Attitude Era, they couldn't do now. I mean, does that show that the world has progressively gotten softer, or has it just changed just because we're all in touch with our morals, values, and principles?
I wouldn't say softer in regards of like they can't handle it, but more aware about what you put out versus what's really going on in the world, right? Back then, those things were going on. They were kind of swept under the rug, right? Because like they alluded to, you had the Jerry Springers and all that. The world was at that place. Now, Jerry Springer can't be on TV. That type of stuff, I mean. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, even like and y'all get this, like the BET Uncuts and all that type of stuff. All that stuff is going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me say one more thing about best for business, bros. Let's not forget the man himself. The reason he stepped aside right now because of the allegations. He Now we don't know. I don't know if Ariamani. I don't know in this stuff. I didn't hear the conversation. I don't know. But the point is, he stepped aside. Why? Because it's best for business. He don't want it to hurt the product. You know, I don't know if it was a conversation that made him do it, or he just did it and sold his own stock. I don't know that. I haven't heard that. But my point is, he did that twice. The first time he retired because of the allegations. Then he came back, right, to sell the company. But now no more allegations came out. He left again because it's best for business. That's his mantra.
Well, man, that first time he was talked into leaving. He didn't. Yeah, I don't think he really wanted to leave.
Yeah.
So because Vince has always found a way to get away with whatever he had going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the trial, these him being sued for whatever, like anything like that. Anything was things coming after him. He found a way to get out of it and found a loophole. This one, he was talking into it, but eventually he felt that there's no way out of this right now. And so finally, he put the business in good hands, sold it, put it in good hands of Triple H. And Stephanie's not really there, but she comes in, you know, she's falling back in love with it. So, and it's in a good place. And Hogan said it wouldn't survive without Vince. It's thriving without him. And maybe he is seeing that. Maybe he thought he couldn't let it go. He think it would go down. And like I said, that was what Hogan's thought. They probably had the same kind of mind about it. But he see it as thriving. So go focus on what you got to do. So focus on your situation.
I was going to say that, you know, when people make those kinds of assumptions or, you know, that's all Hogan knew. If he's in WWE, Vince was there. So he doesn't know, he can't compare it to anything because he doesn't know how it would be without Vince. When he think WWE or WWF, he think Vince McMahon. So without him pulling that place, the thing that's cool about it though, it's just like I think Austin said, here it works. Everybody's part of the machine. You put one piece out, you put another one back in, it keeps going. Same thing on the business side. You know what I'm saying? Now, and that's what I forget. I will say I think it was time for Vince to go because, you know, everything has a season. We understand that. So I think it was time for him to go in terms because, you know, I think Triple H is more in tune to what's going on today, right? And so that works. And guess what? At one point, and sooner or later, well, somewhere down the road, rather, the same thing will happen to Triple H. It's gonna be time for him to. It's gonna be time for somebody. And I think it's gonna be Cody that takes over. That's my personal opinion. You know, that's my personal opinion. But you know what I'm saying. But it's like that. That's life, man. It's part of life. You may think you want to be there to the end, and some people might do it, but you know that the machine got to keep going. So, and I think that's one of the bigger reasons why things are working out like that. We're not just talking wrestling, but that happens in other sports too.
Oh yeah,
head coaches, you know, teams, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like classic example is, you know, like who was it? Like I think Bret Favre had something like that happen to him, and some other folks on the road. But point being, like it was time for him. I think it was just time for him and Hulk Hogan. I know Hulk Hogan said that, and some of the old school wrestlers have their opinion about the product right now, thinking they don't believe it's enough story and things of that nature. But us as fans, we are enjoying it. Yeah.
Really enjoying it, man. And the documentary, you know, I see two sides. I heard Eric Bischoff mention this point. Do you think it was a strategic plan on the back end to introduce WWE to the platform of Netflix? That could be one. The reason why I put this out. Two, it could have been an attempt to bury Vince McMahon or practically divorce Vince McMahon from TKO. That could be two. Or it could have just been the attempt to paint Vince McMahon in the light of a monster, right? Any of the three is possible. But I think what it's done in my opinion, what this documentary did was put more eyes back on the product of WWE. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it gave people, like I said, the history of what this business is, negative or positive. And like I said, in the documentary, they talk about other sports, especially with the CTE stuff. Because that can happen anywhere. Football, hockey, all that. They talked about all that in this documentary. With Chris Nowinski, which I was surprised. I didn't know he was a neuroscientist or whatever.
Bro, I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
I know that.
And he wanted to talk to him, and he's the reason why WWE made those changes. Vince talked to him, surprisingly called him, so they can make those changes. Well, not so so just see what it's about, and that's why they made the changes. And some of the wrestlers was against that, like Undertaker, but with their chair shot and stuff like that, chair shot to the head. So yeah, it's an introduction to Netflix, and like I said, the deal's gonna continue, and I think it's gonna do wonders. It's gonna get a lot of more subscriptions. Either you share it or you don't. The price gonna go up probably, especially if Raw does well on Netflix. Because they got a 5-year deal?
Yep.
I thought it was 10.
No,
I could be
I don't
wrong.
know.
I thought it was 10, but I could be wrong on that one.
I think it's a 5-year deal.
I think it's 5 years.
Okay.
I think it's 5 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure the length of the show gonna be 2 to 3 hours. I think it might be 3. They're gonna go to 2 and then go back to 3.
They're going back to 3.
Okay, yeah. And so this is like I said, a head start. And like I said, good. And they didn't totally show him as a monster. Somebody gonna see it. That's a conclusion some people may make. But like I said, they did show some human sides to Vince and show how a lot of wrestlers have a positive light on Vince, and they would do anything for Vince. Like you said with Undertaker, I would take a bullet for you. He's a father figure. He's a friend. He's all that. But it's two sides to this man. But he himself said, I'm not going to tell you everything about what's going on, but I will give you something. So you know what's more. Either way, it's intriguing, and it can cause people to watch and see what goes on in today's world of wrestling.
You know, I don't know if it was so much it might have been an introduction to Netflix, but I also remember on one of the press conference, I think the last one that Cody at Bash Berlin, I believe, where Triple H had to leave, and Cody kind of took the Triple H part of that. And I think the question was asked, what do you think about it? And I think he said he don't know if WWE had anything to do with it or something like that. But it could be an introduction, yes, in regards to that. But also, it was strategically planned? Of course it was. Of course. You wouldn't just put anything out there like that. Right, of course, right? Business. I mean, why wouldn't you? While this is how I believe WWE operates. I can't prove this right now. While we are enjoying the successes of right now, they are planning the next 10, 15 years. We are still talking about WrestleMania 40. They are thinking about WrestleMania 50. You know what I'm saying?
Some kind of way, yeah.
Yeah. So we're thinking about Cody and Roman. They're thinking about how can we get Roman and The Rock to be bigger. You know what I'm saying? So we're enjoying these little things, but they're thinking big picture. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard from multiple sources on wrestlers, they're booking backwards. They may be thinking 10 years down the road, but this is how we can get there with these pieces in places.
Yeah.
So yeah, do I think it's strategically? Absolutely. And Eric Bischoff, I mean, he'd probably be the one to know. He was from, and then, hold on, didn't he work in AWA? Did he work under Vern Gagne? Was that Vern Gagne who ran that? No, I'm saying in AWA when he was there. Like, was that Vern Gagne who ran that? Let me look at it.
I believe so. Was it Greg Gagne?
Greg Gagne? Hold on. It says Vern Gagne. Yeah.
Okay.
It was founded by Vern Gagne and Wally Cabot. Okay. So Vern Gagne did find it. I thought so. Greg Gagne probably, did some, after that. But I remember.
But yeah, it's an introduction because this is how you advertise the WWE to Netflix for casual watchers.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not watching the marketing that the WWE does on their show because they're not watching wrestling like that or at all.
Mm-hmm.
So you introduce something that's wrestling, a big documentary. This is the introduction, and then boom, right after, not too far after that, Raw is on Netflix now. So it's helping bring those casuals in. And like it's a different perspective for every type of person. Casual fans, lapsed fans who hasn't watched wrestling in a long time, and us, the fans who watching it all the time for the most part. So yeah, it has to be introductory. This is beginning advertising of what this is, what we bring in.
Absolutely. What's the final thoughts on the documentary? How this put Vince McMahon. I mean, now near the end, of course we know the allegations came out and he was no longer on the documentary, but it shows some really interesting, I guess, footages that they kind of compiled together. Vince backstage, Vince kind of, and probably this has probably worked out for the best. Like you alluded to, RC, that things have progressed far past the age of Vince McMahon. You know what I'm saying? So maybe like all things work together for the good. So we don't know how this is benefiting them in the end. But final thoughts on this documentary.
Again, I still think it was one-sided, but we got what we wanted, right? We got what we expected. There was not going to be not the human side, if they call it. It wasn't going to be that part in there. It was all about him, his upbringings in that regard, as far as people kind of, because he tweeted, I think he tweeted. Well, sorry, what did they say? Exit now? What did they say on X? What's the term? They still say tweet?
They call it tweet.
Everybody should say tweet.
Okay. So he tweeted, I think he said it was two sides to every story or something like that. But I thought it was very informative, and it's for a wrestling fan. I think it was good to see because we can get some understanding of one of the pioneers of this business that we enjoy so much. And I think it was good. I guess either time it was no right time to do it, I guess, but I think it was a good time to do it. I enjoyed the documentary. I think it was very informative, and I think as a wrestling fan, you should watch it.
Yeah, and that's why I did watch it, because some things like I didn't know, and some things I grew up on, but I haven't watched other documentaries about certain subjects. And like I said, this is a bunch of documentaries in one.
Mm-hmm.
And from the stories of fatherhood or family period, from business, and just you got to go about your own enjoyment of things. It makes you take a little different look at things. Especially, it kind of pointed one of the parts that really got to me. It's like I watched the pay-per-view with Owen passed, the accident when Owen had happened.
Yeah,
and it's like you don't think about it because you growing up. It's like, okay, they still doing the show. Okay, and my other superstars I want to see are performing now. I hate to have it happen on Owen when I'm down, but I'm glad to see my other performers, all the other wrestlers I want to see. But if you think about it, man, it's like these dudes wrestle by one of they, if not your best friend or a close confidant or a close person that you work with, you know what I'm saying? His blood is still right there.
And they still wrestle.
Still wrestle right there. Like, y'all couldn't change the match. I mean, that's why I said some decisions are just, it should have been something else. I know you think about business and show must go on. The people who there pay their money. They want a show. You want to give them that show. They say they didn't see the fall or whatnot, this and that. But that's why I say you gotta have some regrets about certain things. Businessman or not, you gotta regret some of it, because that's just crazy to me. It's gonna forever be crazy. He said he's gonna make the same some of these same decisions to this day. And there ain't no way. And then the same thing with Benoit. He just went nuts and whatnot. But it ain't just about that. You had to go deeper in that. And it's a CTE thing. So it's like I say, it's like he's not changing his mind on a lot of certain things. Like certain things that, like I said, it still get to you. Right. And it's like, why you make that decision? But like I said, if he didn't get away with a lot of things, we wouldn't see a lot of things we enjoyed throughout the years. So it's a
catch-22.
Yeah, it's a catch-22 with a lot of these things. But either way, like I said before, it's a must-watch. It's intriguing. It's very informative. And it talks about what we all know as what wrestling is in the business side, personal side, whatever side you want to look at it. It's all there. I don't think it was one side. Like, it painted him as a human too in certain aspects, especially with the people that talked about him. And it told you a lot of stories that you may know and a lot of people probably don't know. And it just introducing it to a lot of casual people just watching Netflix or casual fans, period. So it's a must watch.
I want to say one more thing, Sean, before you go. Something we didn't really talk about is some of the interviews that he had, and how some of the people were trying to write him out, like literally, like, journalists and things of that nature. And some of the interviews and how he responded to some of them. He was on the offense or defense, however you want to categorize that. With certain interviews.
Yeah, especially doing the wall.
Yeah, he got into their face, and I think he hit something in their head at one point too. But my point is, yeah, man, that stuff got to him after a while too. You saw that part too. Like getting blamed for whatever. Again, I'm not saying guilty or not guilty. I don't know that. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm just saying what the allegations say or what people showed, right, and how things got to him based on some of the decisions he made. And I would want to be in that position he was in after the thing with Owen Hart, because I wouldn't want to be in that position because he thought about it. What should you do? Because you had a paying audience. I get that. I didn't know the audience didn't, because I remember that show, and obviously the audience was not. they were not live. It was a shock for everybody because Undertaker took on Stone Cold and Triple H and The Rock had a strap match, I think, that to see who faced the champion next. My only point is this. Like, I think Jeff Jarrett said he was in an interview and they just wheeled him rat pipe bound in the backstage
And he was
interview.
close to him. He was close to Owen.
Yeah. In a backstage interview, bro. So you know what I'm saying? It's like I wouldn't want to have to be in those predicaments to make that type of decision. I'll be honest. Because that's a big thing, man. That's unfortunate, man. So when you think about those things like that, the things that he did, the decisions he might have made, and just, whether when the company went public versus private and all that stuff, the decisions he feel he had to make to stay on the up and up and be involved in everything. Because wasn't he like CEO and chairman at one point?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I think he lived a stress life. And I think it's showing now based on the load he has to carry, had to carry. So,
Can you imagine that?
I would just say, again, Sean, I pass it to you, bro, for your thoughts. I just wanted to kind of add that part too.
Great points. Both you guys made. Because I feel it was twofold with the Owen Hart thing because the performers still had to go and do their part too.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure if you look back, probably across the board, everybody regret that decision. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee none of us will ever want to find ourselves in. And to the CTE point, Austin says that he doesn't believe in CTE because he said he's had concussions several times and it never drove him to the point to want to do X, Y, and Z to his family. So,
can I comment on that? I got to comment on that one. I'm sorry, man.
Go ahead.
Austin got dropped on his neck, man.
Straight on his neck.
So he can say that. He can say what he don't believe in, but the fact that it matters, man, you was just hungry to be the man at that time. And so you fought through a lot of things. You didn't have a match for a while, but you was involved. That's when he was stunning everybody. You know what I'm saying? You can say that, man, but the fact of the matter is that's why you had your first retirement. That's why you left the business too. One of the reasons why you left the business. And then when you came back a year later, you only had like 3 matches and you had to be retired again. You got dumped on your head, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can say
I agree with him saying that, bro.
Yeah, you can say you don't believe in that, man. But I don't even know if he completely believed that. I think he put his head down a little bit, if I'm not mistaken.
But I think the documentary painted a broad stroke of just the business, the industry as a whole, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm putting a lot of things into perspective. His interaction with The Rock, making The Rock the first, colored champion of that time. I mean, that whole exchange.
Personal color. We don't want to say colored now. We'll say personal color.
And I think the guy the MVP of this documentary that kept it real across the board was Tony Atlas.
Oh yeah,
he kept it real across the board.
Even though he should have been real and left the company, I don't care what you're talking about. Anybody grabbing me and I'm staying here not saying that. I don't.
Yeah.
That's when he should have been real. I don't know.
He kept it real. I mean, he says that he heard Vince say, "Man, I wish somebody would take care of the guy," because Hogan's like, "Hey, a guy's here. He's not trying to learn nothing about Hulk Hogan, the Hulkamania. He's really trying to expose the business." Tony Atlas like, one of the guys went up and slapped this man in the middle of his interview, and the guy ran out, and everybody's like, "Hey, you protected the business." That's the mindset of those guys back in that day. We all live in different eras. They would protect that business to the death, And I think those are lessons that we all can. It's lessons in this documentary all of us can glean from at whatever stage of life we find ourselves in. So I thoroughly enjoyed the documentary. I'm just on the spectrum of showing grace to anybody and everybody. I believe that everybody has that, and only the court of law can prove otherwise, right? I always say Vince McMahon is a huge credit to what we enjoy today. Huge credit. And this just made it even that more clear. Some of the things I didn't even know about, you know what I'm saying? Even he said he was hurt by what Hogan did by going to another company, but Hogan still came in, represented that man in court, and basically, I guess, lied about the steroids. We don't know, So there's a lot of jewels.
We didn't say a lie. He just said Vince didn't give it to him, which is what they was accusing him of. And he didn't, but
which is true.
He still knew about it. So I mean, it still don't make him a good guy either way. But depending on how you look at it.
I mean, because like you said, people were blaming him for the death of Owen Hart, like saying this man killed Owen Hart. They're saying he killed Benoit or caused Benoit to do what he did. he did the steroids. So I can see both sides. You know what I'm saying? Why Vince snapped in the media? I mean, that's a lot of pressure. They're saying you're the cause of somebody's death. You know. So, but what do you think, real quick? Man, this is good. There's a lot in this thing. What do you think about Bret Hart saying that he thinks that they use certain stuff to get back at him, even the death of his brother?
Listen, man, I don't. Why? And I'm a Bret Hart fan. Why? Why would you? I think that was just me personally. Bret Hart still in his anger for what he did. Because remember, he on record saying he gave more to the company than anybody at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Bret was just still bitter about what happened. I understand why he was mad, but I don't think they would do that to get back at him. That's somebody's life. That's somebody's life. Remember now, if you go back and look at the history of it, after that happened, Bret Hart and Chris Benoit had a Owen Hart Trooper match on Nitro.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't. Yeah, come on, man. Somebody lost their life, and then his best friends are over there. Why would you? I don't think that's no.
The storyline stuff, maybe, but I don't think he would go that far and do something to Owen like that. That was a total accident, and that's why Bret said, "I forgive him personally, but business-wise, I'm still gonna be down on him in that time." So, but yeah, I think the storyline-wise, he might have been picking on Owen a little bit, even though some of those moments gave us a great laughter or whatever, especially with the dude dressing up as Owen Hart in the Nation and whatnot. But other than that, Bret forgave him for certain things, but not fully, with all that happened.
Mm-hmm. One last point. I think you alluded to it earlier, Ron. Was it Kayfabe? Is that what they call it?
Kayfabe?
Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Just from now, you had your take about how the older guys felt about it. They felt like, and Bret Hart says that's the day where wrestling, the curtains were pulled back, and wrestling just became phony at that point. You kind of knew it was phony.
Talking about the curtain call?
The curtain call, yeah.
I mean, kayfabe is done. I mean,
especially
it does.
Since the internet came out.
Yeah, it's done. I mean, you see faces and heels traveling together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You might not see rivalries like you probably won't see Cody and Roman in a picture together even today. At least not right now, but kayfabe is not there right now. And so I just feel a lot of wrestlers grew up that way. The Stings, the Steamboats, the Flairs, the Dusties, all that's how they grew up like that. So right now, kayfabe is not a thing right now. At least I don't think so.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it can be like a new kayfabe, where some people have alluded to, like Sam Roberts. He's been credit to this. Well, say you might put something out there, like a behind the scenes type of thing. They might put it out there, but it might not be true. But if they put it on a certain platform, some people are going to think it's true, and they can translate to storyline on TV. So that's the new type of kayfabe people might be running with. So it is different now, depending on how you present yourself online and how you present yourself on the show.
Right.
It's up to you.
Good point. I eat Logan Paul and Kevin Nash. Now I'm having second thoughts about that.
Right, you never know what like that. People putting out stuff just to get attention, and it might translate to some on the show. But like we're going off the rail. We'll be talking all day about this stuff, bro.
Yeah. Do you think one more thing, man? This thing is good. Do you think it was warranted for Triple H to take the fall? We got to talk about that. We're gonna talk about it on the next episode.
On the next episode of Champions Corner.
I don't think it was warranted, but we want to know what you guys think all about the documentary, the Mr. McMahon documentary. What do you guys think about the SmackDown episode? We look forward to hearing from your comments, seeing it all on the next episode of the Champions Corner. We'll see you next time. Peace.